Going solo is often seen as a risky move for an artist coming out of a successful group. It's hard to make it without the brand attached to them. In this video, we look at 8 artists that went solo and flopped. Louis Tomlinson. One Direction was one of the most successful boy bands of all time, with each member seeming poised for inevitable solo success. However, while Harry Styles became a global sensation, Louis Tomlinson's solo journey took a different path. His first major post-One Direction move was Just Hold On, a collaboration with Steve Aoki in 2016. While it saw moderate success, peaking at number 2 in the UK, his solo singles that followed up didn't make the same impact. Songs like Two of Us and Miss You failed to gain major traction, especially in the US, where they barely made a dent on the charts. Despite One Direction's loyal fanbase, Louis' debut album Walls in 2020 did not live up to expectations. The album peaked at number 9 in the UK, but was less visible on the global stage. Critics were lukewarm about the project, often comparing it to the success of Harry and Zayn, his former bandmates. Louis' solo career never reached the same heights. His latest album, Faith in the Future, was released in 2022. Even though it went number 1 in the UK, it failed to spawn any charting singles. Chasez. As the second lead vocalist of NSYNC, Chasez was often regarded as the vocal powerhouse of the group. When NSYNC disbanded, many believed that he had the talent to go head-to-head with fellow member Justin Timberlake, who would go on to become a pop icon. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned for JC. In 2004, he released his debut solo album, Schizophrenic. The album had a strong start. His follow-up single, All Day Long, I Dream About Sex, similarly flopped, not even charting on the Billboard Hot 100. That led to poor sales of the album overall. I remember him for being a judge on America's Best Dance Crew. I used to watch that when I was a kid. Despite having a great voice, strong songwriting abilities, and a reputation as one of NSYNC's most talented members, JC's solo career could not match Timberlake's monumental success. His pop career stalled, leaving him in the shadows of JT, who became a global superstar. Nicole Scherzinger. As the frontwoman of the Pussycat Dolls, Nicole Scherzinger was often perceived as a solo artist, even when she was part of the group. With hits like Don't Ya and Buttons, she had the charisma, voice, and stage presence to make it big on her own. She usually handled all the main vocals on all of the group's biggest hits. However, when she actually went solo, her career fell short of the superstar status many expected her to reach. Her first major solo release, Her Name is Nicole, was slated for 2007, but was delayed multiple times and eventually shelved. The singles released to promote the album, such as Whatever You Like and Baby Love, did not chart well in the US, leading the album to disappear before it had a proper release. Nicole eventually saw some success with tracks like Right There, which peaked on number 3 in the UK. Her debut album, Killer Love, was released in 2011, peaking at number 8 in the UK. After that, she released some semi-successful singles in the UK, but her solo career doesn't hold a candle to her success with the Pussycat Dolls. She found her niche on TV, as a judge on shows like The X Factor and The Masked Singer, but that couldn't translate into the record sales. Despite having the voice and stage presence, her solo music never clicked with the mainstream audience for some reason. Nick Carter. As a member of the Backstreet Boys, Nick Carter was one of the most famous faces in pop music during the late 90s and early 2000s. But when he ventured out on his own, things didn't pan out the way many expected. In 2002, he released his debut solo album, Now or Never, banking on his boyish charm and pop star image. Despite having a built-in fanbase from the Backstreet Boys, his solo album didn't make a big impact. The lead single, Help Me, performed moderately, peaking at number 36 in the US, but it did not propel the album to have significant sales. That is still his only charting solo single in the US. But by then, the buzz around his solo career had significantly diminished. His attempts to break out of the shadow of the Backstreet Boys and prove himself as a standalone artist never gained momentum, and he ultimately returned to the group that had originally made him famous. Nick Carter also had a troubled life, as he struggled with substance abuse and was subject of multiple sexual assault allegations. Victoria Beckham. As one of the Spice Girls, Victoria Beckham, formerly Adams, was iconic, standing out as the stylish, posh Spice. The Spice Girls dominated pop culture in the 1990s, and when they disbanded, Victoria, like her bandmates, saw the opportunity to go solo. In 2001, she released her debut solo album, Victoria Beckham. Unfortunately, it peaked at a modest number 6 on the UK singles chart, far from the dominance the Spice Girls had enjoyed. The album itself was a commercial flop, struggling to sell despite her high-profile name. Critics weren't kind either, with many saying it lacked the originality and flair, failing to define Victoria's own musical identity. Her next solo singles, like A Mind of Its Own, failed to chart meaningfully, and after a brief stint trying to make her solo career work, she quietly stepped away from music to focus on her own incredibly successful career in fashion. While she is an undeniable icon, musically, her solo career was far from what was expected from someone coming out of the biggest girl groups of all time. Kelly Rowland. Kelly Rowland was a core member of Destiny's Child, one of the most successful groups of all time. She had undeniable vocal chops, and when the group went on hiatus in the early 2000s, many believed she had what it took to match the level of success her bandmate Beyoncé was destined for. But the reality turned out to be different. Her first solo album, Simply Deep, saw success, and her duet with Nelly on Dilemma topped charts worldwide and became one of the biggest songs of the year. But after that, she struggled to maintain that momentum. Her second album, Miss Kelly, didn't achieve the level of commercial success many expected, despite singles like This having moderate chart success. While she had occasional hits like Motivation in 2011, her solo career never really reached the heights that were expected from her. Despite her talent and multiple attempts to create a standout solo moment, she has often found herself stuck in the shadow of Beyoncé's monumental success, which likely limited her ability to shine fully as a solo artist. Nick Lachey. Nick Lachey was a prominent figure in the late 90s and early 2000s as part of the boy band 98 Degrees, which, although never reaching the huge heights of NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, had a dedicated fan base and several chart-topping hits. Songs like I Do Cherish You and Because of You cemented their place in pop history. Nick, like many of his peers, attempted to go solo. He released his debut album Solo in 2003, right at the height of his marriage to Jessica Simpson, and their MTV reality show Newlyweds. While the show was a hit, the album was a commercial disappointment. The album's lead single, Shut Up, barely made a dent on the charts, and his attempt to cash in on his reality TV fame with music did not quite work. His second album, What's Left of Me, fared better in 2006, which was perceived as a raw and emotional response to his split with Jessica Simpson, offering a brief revival of his musical career. However, it wasn't enough to establish him as a sustainable solo artist, and after that, his solo career quietly faded. For this generation, he's now known as the creator of the Netflix TV show Love is Blind. Dina Jane. Dina Jane was a member of Fifth Harmony, one of the most popular girl groups of the 2010s. After the group went on hiatus in 2018, its members, including Dina, set their sights on solo careers. She had always been seen as a strong vocalist within the group, but transitioning to solo stardom has proven to be challenging. In 2019, she released her debut single Bottled Up. Despite high-profile features, the song didn't gain much traction, not even charting on the Billboard Hot 100. Critics praised her voice, but noted that the song itself did not stand out in an oversaturated market of similar-sounding tracks. Her next singles like Heard It Before and 1501 failed to chart, and while she continued releasing music, it did not reach the level of success she experienced as part of Fifth Harmony. With other group members like Camila Cabello and Normani making significant solo breakthroughs, Dina struggled to find a solid footing as a solo artist, has been evident, leaving her in a precarious position where her solo career has effectively flopped. Which artists that went solo and flopped did I miss? Tell me in the comments below.